Okay. Well, anyway, so we're going to start out with number one. And this is, these are all the things that I wish I would have known. It probably would have made my first year or two a little bit easier. So first, number one is success will take more effort than you think. So this is the thing I want you to remember. When you hear the stories of the real estate agent that got 5 deals within their first month, and you think, oh my gosh, I can do this. And they're saying, yep, you call FSBOs every day, you call expireds, and you just keep your pipeline full. So, okay. And sure, sometimes you have a quick win like that. But however, what you're missing is when someone shares their success story and all the nitty gritty details, you're missing the messy middle, the background to that person's story. So sure, someone fresh off the streets with no real estate or sales experience can hit it out of the park their first 30 days, but you need to find out what the typical success rate is and find out the effort it took for agents whose success didn't come until 6 months or a year, and find out what they had to do to be successful. And I see this a lot, and there are some really great, just happen to fall in their lap, whatever. And you're just looking at that person like, how are they doing it? That isn't as typical as those who are going to be waiting for 6 months to a year to really get things rolling. So
I agree.
My favorite line is, don't compare your outsides to someone's insides, because you really don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
I agree. Janine,
Yeah.
Can you hear me? There we go.
I can hear you.
Hi.
Oh, there she
Hi.
is.
Good morning, everybody. I got a new computer and it wouldn't accept the login. I was like, oh, darn it, let's go. So I had to reload it. Anyways, I agree with Janine 100%, because there are so many people who start and they say, oh, I closed $1 million deal on my first deal. I was like, my first deal was $109,000 little condo.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to take the big ones with the small ones, and, you know, stay on track and don't compare yourself to anyone else. I agree 100%.
And it's really hard because, like, for instance, on our team, every single week we have our team meeting on Mondays at 11 o'clock. And our production per agent is shared with everybody. So we know exactly what they sold, what's pending, what's closed, and we see their production numbers. And, you know, at first, my first reaction was, you know, maybe we shouldn't do that every week because everyone's comparing each other. But it also creates, you know, oh my gosh, look what that person's doing. What should I be modeling after this person on our team? It's still hard, though, not to compare yourself. Your goals may be different than someone else's, too. It just depends on where you're at. Number two, do you want to read that one, Connie? You want to, like, go back and forth, or do you have it?
I
can read it.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I have no idea where mine is.
Number two, success will take more time to achieve than you think. So this piggybacks off of the first statement about effort. The fact is that most agents fail their first year, and there is evidence to back that up. But I am all about positivity, mindset. Success may take longer than you think, but it is certainly possible.
Well, it's possible. And I think having your goals set is really, really important also. Mm-hmm. So set your goals, stick to your goals, and, you know, have a plan set out. If you're getting up in the morning and saying, I have nothing to do, you really need to make yourself a checklist, kind of like in your old job when you had your day off. When you had your checklist, if you didn't write down, clean your kitchen, it never got done, at least for me. So when I start in the morning, I look at my checklist on what needs to be done every day. And if you have something else going on, you may have to get up a little earlier to get these things taken care of and to stay on track. And that's what you really want to do.
Yeah, I treat each day as if I'm unemployed. What do I need to do to get my next paycheck? I mean, what systems do I have in place that are going to help me get me there?
I agree.
You have to have a plan every single day of how you're going to carry out your lead generation. Number 3, success.
Okay.
More money.
I got it up now.
Oh, what's that? Oh, you got it? Okay, go
I
ahead.
have it up now. Yep.
Okay.
Success will take more money than you think. So when I first became an agent, I thought I just had to pay my monthly dues to my broker, you know, your E&O insurance, your MLS, etc. But what I didn't know were there are other costs of being an agent. They're optional, but I think it's the difference between reaching success quicker with a shorter learning curve and less stress. So consider setting aside money for real estate training. You have got to keep up on your training. Whether you use the money to pay for systems, training, a course, or hire a coach, it's good to have some extra money available when you need it. And the really great thing, and the reason why I came with Keller Williams is honestly because of the training. It was there. I had no idea what to do when I started. So I went to every training available. And, you know, it's really nice because a lot of times the trainings, they only cost you $25. And just jump in on the money management courses and the marketing courses and listen to the people who are successful and see how they did it. You know, we're not recreating the wheel here, but you need to continue on your education, just like every doctor has to do continuing education. Lawyers have to do continuing education. Builders, I mean, they have to keep up on what the latest styles are for decorating. Same thing with real estate. We have to keep up on our education to make sure that we're the best agent that we can.
Right. Absolutely. I think one of the things that I am consistently doing is going to training. I will find it. You guys get emails from KW about trainings that are going on. I just took one yesterday. That was amazing. It's called the Never Ending Referrals. I don't know if anyone took it. It was a complete plan on how you use your database to make money. And it's a very specific plan, but there's all kinds of coaching and classes that you guys can jump in on, whether it's here locally or if it's through MAPS coaching. There's so many opportunities. I love to take classes that are offered throughout the nation because I get to hear what other agents are doing and I learn something and take something away. So without that, I would feel stagnant. So education is super important. Number 4, get it in writing. Yes. So it only takes one time where you're trusted someone's word and you didn't get it in writing before you learn. So don't get burned. Sure, there are buyers that you meet that are nice and friendly, but I've had it happen when buyers try to go around me and purchase a home with another agent. So
yes,
we love each other. All is great. I don't have buyer agency, but I completely trust them. And then I find out that they purchased another home with someone else. So get buyer agency signed. And I offer the same advice when working with agents when negotiating. If it isn't written down, it is not valid, period. If you're going back and forth and negotiating an offer verbally, awesome. But if it isn't written down, it is not valid. So people can have a short-term memory. Write it down, get it in writing, get it signed. Right, Connie? Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it will come back to bite you if you don't have it in writing, because then it comes down to a he said, she said.
Yep. Especially when you're negotiating.
Number 5.
Yeah. Number 5. Go ahead.
This is a good one. Don't spend the money until it's in your hands. My goodness. Unfortunately, we're in the business that everything you start doesn't come to an end. So, so many things can happen before you reach that closing table. You can count your money before you receive it and plan on it. I'm a big spreadsheet person. So when I take a listing, when I find a buyer, I put that right in the spreadsheet so I know my potential earning. I'm just put everything in an Excel spreadsheet. My accountant always says, is there anything you don't have in an Excel spreadsheet? I'm like, no. But then I can see what I possibly have. But don't spend it. You'll run items up on your credit card or borrowing money thinking, oh my gosh, I have a $10,000 check coming in. And then something happens, especially with COVID here, people lose their jobs and 2 days before closing, it doesn't close. And a lot of times it's out of the buyer's control on whether it sells or the seller's control. So please don't spend that money until it's in your hands. Once you get it, you can divvy out your monies for where it needs to go, but just be mindful of your spending.
Yeah, we've had a couple closings that Jay and I that literally we found out completely was going to fall apart on really high end homes the day or two before closing. So yeah, so I never count on it until it's in my hands. It's devastating. Number 6, this is interesting. Introverts can be successful too. So I didn't realize the power of the introverted agent. I thought everyone, that if anyone wanted to be successful in sales, they had to be an extrovert. And that is not true. There are a ton of very successful agents that are introverts. You don't have to be the bubbly agent. You can be introverted and kill it. Not everyone is attracted to an extrovert. So, which kind of goes to you mirror and match your client. So if you're working with someone that is an introvert, you may want to tone your extrovert part of you down a little bit so you can relate. And also the opposite, if you're an introvert and you're working with an extrovert, you may want to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and try to mirror and match that client on the other side. But plenty of introverts that are extremely successful agents that I've heard so many people say, but I'm kind of quiet and I'm not that bubbly person. Well, that verbal bubbly person doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a great agent.
Correct.
So remove that from your thoughts. Number 7, Connie.
Yep. You've just traded one boss for several hundred. So if you worked in corporate America before you started real estate, you probably had one boss, one person to answer to, one person to send reports to. But once you get into the real estate arena, each client is your boss. Oh yeah, and your child.
Yeah.
We say that in the most loving way because you need to impress your clients and look out for their best interest, anticipate their needs and more. And you know, when you get a couple of deals going on, it does get a little difficult to juggle what is going on, keep all your dates and deadlines straight. But in the same token, we have the resources for you. Getting a transaction manager is the best way to keep your dates and deadlines straight and just really focus on your clients on what they need, and making sure that all your amendments are done, their questions are answered. I got an email this morning from somebody who is, I don't know what mature is, but a little bit more mature. We have an accepted offer on them. And when I said that they would get a closing cost credit in lieu of a couple of repairs that needed to be done after inspection, he asked me, does that mean I get a cash check at closing? You know, and you would think somebody in their 50s would already know that, but it's been quite some time since he purchased a house. And it's a very simple question, but you know, you have to respond to these quickly because our deadline is tomorrow. So we need to make a decision. So you really have to stay on track and listen to all of your bosses as you're doing these deals.
Right. I think too, if you, you're always going to have that boss. And I think more than anything in this business, you have so many different, you can't control the public and how they show up in your life and what their personalities are as a client. But then you also have the title company that you're working along with, the co-broke. So you have to be really fluid in how you interact with other people. And getting along is probably the most important.
Yep.
I have had some super difficult clients this year. And after the transaction has closed, and I like to stop by maybe a month or two after they've closed on the home just to do a little pop by. I'll text them like a couple days before. Hey, I'm in your neighborhood. I'm going to be in your neighborhood. I was hoping I could stop by and see you. Even the worst clients, I have learned to have amnesia. I have forgotten all about the drama and, maybe some not so wonderful things about the transaction, and I forget about it. I honestly I forgot about it. And sometimes you'll find, oh my gosh, Janine, I'm so sorry I acted that way. I was really going through a tough time. Oh, I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh my gosh, I thought you were awesome. You just move on. Moving is very stressful. So, okay. Effort doesn't always equal a sale. So you can do everything right. You can be on top of everything. You can find the perfect home, but guess what? They could have an unexpected job transfer to another state or get laid off or have a loan that for some reason didn't go through. So even though you're doing all you can do to make it to closing, sometimes it can be an uphill battle. So that might throw you off. You've done everything right and it doesn't close. Be prepared for that. I've had people that have literally lost their job in the very middle of a transaction, and it's devastating. So
it's heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. Be prepared. I had a listing on the east side, and the buyer's agent, we were supposed to close in 2 weeks. Everything was going around great. The buyer's agent called me and said, Janine, you won't believe this. Her clients were moving to Milwaukee from Europe, and everything was going along just great until the lender found out that they had not paid. They had lived in Europe for 3 years. They had not paid any income tax in the United States. They were U.S. citizens for 3 years.
Oh boy.
And okay, well, that's not going to work. Long story short, I found a lender that would work with them. It closed a week or two late, but I was so nervous to make that phone call to my seller about what was happening. And I really didn't share the dirty details. I just said, the buyers have decided for whatever reason to go with a new lender. And they had to maneuver some paperwork around, so we're not going to close for another week and a half. But be prepared that things can go off without you expecting it, and sometimes things can get saved. So anyway, all right, number 9.
Yep, mentorship is key. So when people start real estate, they don't usually have a clue, and I'm just going to talk for myself, don't have a clue on the process of buying and selling real estate. And there are a lot of little key factors that need to be taken care of, and finding a mentor and having somebody guide you through things makes the chances greater that you will have better success in your business and that you'll be able to take your deals from start to finish. There's just a lot of little secrets, and I hate to call them secrets, that people who are in the business know that they can help you along the way. As an example, when I wrote my first offer, I thought you wrote the offer to purchase and that was it. So my mentor said, okay, what about the addendum A? And I said, what is that? Well, I knew what it was. I was in productivity coaching, but you get so excited and things move so fast that to have somebody check over your work and make sure that you have the offer to purchase, the addendum A, your real estate condition report, your pre-approval letter, and your addendum S, if needed, is really, really key to being successful and moving everything forward.
Yeah. And when you're writing that offer, make sure you have someone look it over and look it over 2 or 3 times yourself before you send it over to have that reviewed.
Yeah, I still get nervous with setting up all those deadlines, dates and stuff,
Yeah.
because everything matters.
It does.
It's a legal binding document. So especially if you're working late at night and you're trying to get something in quickly, or you're in competition or whatever, really make sure that you look every detail over. I think it was my first year, and I was a listing agent on a property, and we were going back and forth on negotiating. And I think it was like my 3rd counter, and I left off the adjusted purchase price, which would have been a benefit to my seller, and all parties signed.
Oh,
And
no.
I literally woke up, it had to be 3 o'clock in the morning. I went, wait a minute. Did I mess up last night? And I woke up, and sure enough, I did.
Ugh.
Yeah. My heart sank, because we're talking like $4,500, probably.
So what happened?
What
happened?
Making commission. And I'm thinking, I'm literally going to have to pay to get out to make this transaction work. Like, I'm not going to make any money. I'm going to have to bring money. And so don't do what I did. It corrected itself, because I called the agent the next morning. I said, I made a mistake. I was very honest. I made a horrible mistake. And this is like 7 years ago. And he said, yeah, I know. I'm acutely aware of it. And I said, really? And you didn't speak up? Like, you didn't say anything to me? He goes, no. Why would I? So I said, well, I'm going to tell you right now that you can go ahead and have your inspection, but it's not going to go well. I mean, we need to go back to that agreed upon price. And he wouldn't. And long story short, he came back and said, the buyers are no longer interested in the property.
True.
Yeah, it was, I literally was dying. But it's going to happen, and you will not forget it, which I will never forget it. So I am so laser focused on anything that is going back and forth in negotiation. I just make sure that everything is lined up, because you make one mistake like that, and you will make sure it doesn't happen again. So.
Yep. And keep in mind, in your counter offers, everything has to be listed on the current counter offer. Yeah. Just because it was in counter offer number 1 does not mean that it transfers to counter offer 2, 3, or 4. Everything has to be listed on that counter offer.
Yes. Yes. So exactly. And that's what I didn't do. I didn't put that adjusted price on there. I just thought, we agreed on that, so I don't need to put it into this next. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about how that works, let us know, because that will sink a ship. Number 10, consistency is key. All right. So when you start out, and even if you've been in it for a very long time, you need to be consistent with your marketing, whether you're calling for sale by owners or expireds, whether you're sending postcards to a farm area, or volunteer as part of your marketing strategy, you need to be consistent. So there is a book called The Compound Effect. It's a great book. It's also a podcast, and it's about repetitive actions. So if you're farming an area, then be consistent. You can't just start on an area that you're farming and then pull out and go somewhere else, or you're only doing it, once or twice a year. That's not enough. You have to have that compound effect of being consistent and doing it over and over and over again. That's the key. Right, Connie?
Yes. And to be honest, when I get busy, I lose that part.
Yep.
And then what happens is 30, 60 days later, I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then when I look back at my calendar and I notice that I didn't work on keeping consistent with my marketing, it will reflect your business 30, 60, and 90 days later, because I got so busy. I didn't go to my volunteering, and then I kind of lost track of those people that I knew I had a deal coming, but because you didn't show up, it didn't follow through.
Yeah.
So that one is really important. And you guys know me, I'm really honest. When I get busy, that's the one thing that I super have to concentrate on, is keeping that going.
Right. And I think, consistency in lead generating, if you have even one deal, especially if you're new, one deal will completely take over your life. I mean, it's like it encompasses every breathing moment of your day. Imagine if you have 2 or 3 going on at the same time. How are you going to be consistently lead generating? That typically will take a back seat because you're so busy working on what's in front of you. But guess what? When those are closed,
you have nothing to do.
You have nothing to do. And it happens to me over and over. So now I have trained myself to be constantly thinking, this is December, 17th? Yeah. What do I have going on what am I doing today that is going to prompt a closing in 45 days from now? What do I have on the books in 45 days? And I better have something, whatever my goal is, I better have 2 or 3 transactions that are going to close. So every day I look at that. What do I have closing in 45 days? If I don't have anything,
I get nervous.
I start hitting myself. Like, what are you doing? My job is to lead generate. That's my job. Okay.
Number 11, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you're afraid to step out of your box, you really you have to do it. Just like your old job. Remember when you started a new task, there's always something to learn. You just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So every time that your mentor or us in productivity, we give you an activity, you have to say to yourself, I'm smart and I can figure this out, and just go do it. Because if you don't step out of your box to look for business, to go to the unfamiliar places, you're volunteering, knocking on doors, calling people, when somebody says, oh, my sister's brother's husband is thinking about selling a house. And if you think to yourself, oh my gosh, my sister's brother's husband, I've never met them before. I don't know where they live. I don't know what lifestyle they have. Are they doctors? Are they attorneys? Do they make a ton of money? And I'm not up for it. I mean, you're just really, really burying yourself in a hole. So take and knock out that scaredy pants thing and just put on your big girl and big boy pants and just go for it. Because these are things that will take and move your business forward when you get a lead and when you basically leads, you have to jump in and just go for it.
You're smart and you can figure it out, right, Connie?
Yep.
Yeah. I just remember, and just like you guys, this is all new. You've never maybe have sold real estate before. And it's nerve-wracking. There's a lot to take in, and just take one thing at a time and don't get overwhelmed. For me, technology still is, can be challenging. And I think I kind of got stuck of, oh my gosh, I can't figure that out, but I know I can sell. So I really had to be comfortable with diving into technology so then I would feel completely confident as an agent. So whatever you're uncomfortable with, you need to dive into and embrace it. And it's going to make you more confident.
I agree.
Have systems in place. So you need to figure out what the beginning and the end of your process is. The quicker you understand the process of contract to close, the better you can prepare yourself and anticipate the needs of your client. So even if you are using a transactional partner to get yourself from contract to close, you should still be acutely aware of the process. So that's why I thought last week was so amazing with the title company, because yes, we can say, I'll get back to you about that question on title, but knowing the basis of what their job is will make you a better agent. Not knowing is not good. Doesn't mean you have to be an expert at it, but you should at least know the process.
I keep checklists for my process. I have a checklist for contract to close for buyers and contract to close for a listing. And even if I'm using that contract coordinator, I still have actually here, I have one right here, file with my buyers, and right on the inside, I have contract to close. And everything that needs to be done with the dates and the deadlines, because, kind of like putting in your amendments and your counteroffers, if you don't put in what you want, and if you don't hit those dates and deadlines, you're out. It's your fault. If you don't miss that inspection contingency date, you get nothing. And then your buyers may be stuck with a lot of work that they never intended to do, A, or B, an expense that they can't afford or weren't expecting when they purchased this house.
Yep. Social media. I think it's your turn, Connie.
Social media. This ain't 1970 or 2007. Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. They are where you are going to get your business. You're going to get your touches. Oh yeah, and by the way, they're free. If you're not on the social media platforms where your clients hang out, you're giving your business away to the person that is. So find out how to blend your personality with being informative and to build your loyal following. And, as Janine was saying before, those of us who are over a certain age, not saying what age.
What?
We're not that in tune to a lot of things like the Instagrams and all of that. Find somebody who is. Work with them. Find somebody at the office who you can work with. I'll help you with this if you help me with my social media. Yeah. I use my daughter. I totally use my daughter, and I pay her. So all of those funny Facebook messages, I can't even take credit for. She put the other day.
Connie.
So yesterday one went out with the little Home Alone boy. What the heck is his name? The little blonde-haired boy.
Oh yeah. Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin, yes. So one went out yesterday. I'm sure some of you saw it. It was the little Macaulay Culkin, and he had his hands on his face, and he says, "Don't leave me home alone. Connie can help me find a new house."
That's adorable.
Isn't it adorable? It is so not something that I would have thought of. I can't take credit for any of it, but Maddie takes, because she's in college, she's a marketing major. She puts these things together and she schedules them out twice a week. And I don't know, we have Instagram, and I don't even know if we have Twitter. I mean, I'm going here, but with Instagram, everything, she puts everything out, and you know what? we get likes and more page followers from all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden somebody will call and say, hey, I didn't know you were in real estate, or I've been watching your posts and they're funny. Can you help me find a house? Yeah. So use your resources if you're not good at it. But my gosh, all of this advertising is free. It doesn't cost anything.
Delegate, delegate, delegate.
Mhm.
Learn to do that quickly. If it's not something that you are great at and you really don't see yourself embracing, you're not going to do it. That's just
Mhm.
our nature. I am here to tell you. So then find someone that can do it for you, and you're not
Yes.
putting your time and energy into it. Put your time and energy into something that you absolutely love doing, and those things that you don't, find someone to help you or do it for you.
Yep.
Your broker makes a difference. Obviously, you're with Keller Williams, you're on this call. So, that makes a difference. You have the stats and the resources at Keller Williams that, I feel sorry for the agents that are working for a different brokerage, they don't have. So you did the best thing in the world, in my opinion, is choosing Keller Williams. And you always will have someone that can help you. If you can't reach, if you have a designated mentor or you're calling the hotline, if you can't reach anyone, you can always call Connie and I. We are here to help
Yep.
you. If you're in
Yep.
a pickle, I have had several calls like, you won't believe this. I need, oh my gosh, we love helping. So if you have
Yes.
a question and you're so embarrassed, every question that's stupid, I've probably asked it 5,000 times.
Yes.
I
And we
honestly
have a
don't
lot of,
care if it's stupid or not. I could care less. Does someone give me an answer?
yes.
Honestly, could care less.
Well, and as agents who are even out of the productivity program, we call each other all the time.
Yes.
And what's really, really funny coming back to the brokerage is every agent who we get out at Lake Country who comes from another brokerage, because I'm in contact with all of them because we help each other. They always say, we never had this at our other brokerage.
Yeah.
Nobody helped. It was a secret what everybody was doing. Nobody helped you with anything. You couldn't make a phone call. I get phone calls all the time. What would you do with this? What about that? Is this legal? Can I do that? Yeah. No, absolutely not. It's good just to bounce off of other people. And that's the great thing that we have.
Yeah. And me being on a team, I hear new things every single day. Like, Janine, I'm not sure what to do about this. I'm like, that's really interesting. I'm not sure either. Let's find out. Let's find out what the answer is, because honestly, I don't know. So if someone that you go to doesn't know the answer, they can help you find out who does have that answer. I love number 15 the most. Choose one or two people to follow and then put your blinders on. Big. So am I the only person that gets the shiny object syndrome? I have it. So this point piggybacks off my tip to find a mentor. Once you find a mentor or two, or training, of course, that you can trust, do what they say. And don't listen to anyone else. You'll get confused. So if you have two mentors or one, listen to what they say, because everyone is going to give you different opinions. So it's kind of like dieting. Sure, all these various diets work, but you have to find the one that will actually commit to and do the work consistently over time. So we have like a mentor program within J. Schmidt Group. And if a new agent were to ask that mentor and then turn around and ask me and then turn around and ask Jay, they may get a couple different answers.
Yes.
And that can be even more confusing to begin with. So we always say, go to your mentor. And if you can't track down that mentor, then come to one of us and go with that.
Yes. Well, and when you're asking 3, 4, 5 people, A, you're getting confused, but B, you're wasting number 3, 4, and 5's time.
Yeah. they'll catch
Because-
on to the fact that, oh, you're just seeing what my opinion is and you're weighing it against everyone else's opinion. I mean, getting 1 or 2 answers is great, but then kind of keep it at that, 1 to 2.
Yes. Well, and everybody does things just a little bit different, and it's not wrong, but
No.
you need to keep consistent with your business structure and how you approach things.
Because if you are the type of person that, and I'm not that type of person, so in some ways I wish I were, that you have to be 100% convinced that this is the right answer. And if it doesn't feel like the right answer, you're just going to keep going until they answer the way you think they should answer. You will drive yourself absolutely cray.
Yes.
So the 1 to 2, put your blinders on. I quickly found out who thought like myself, even though I didn't know the answer, but I liked their style. That's who I kind of surrounded myself with. Like, okay, I like how that person operates and thinks. I think like that. So I'm going to buddy up to that person, whether they like it or not.
Exactly.
Too bad. So sad.
I think I drove Janine crazy when I started.
Oh, heck no. No.
What about this? And then she wouldn't respond to me in like 2 minutes, and I would get so mad. Like she had nothing else to do than to take my call, right?
I try.
I know.
If
But you know
see
what?
me,
And
like moving my arm, I was writing on the back of a piece of paper with a permanent marker, and I have a white table, and it's all over my table.
oh no.
Nail polish remover.
Oh,
That's
nail
not
polish remover? Okay.
Well, try it, but
Ooh,
be
it'll
careful
take
if
the
there's a
finish off.
finish.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there is.
Ay.
Oh well, okay.
Okay, so when you have marker on your table, make sure you have an emergency savings, number 16. Boy, you played right into that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
So when you're scrambling to get your first deal, it's stressful enough. And there's no need to add to it by wondering when your next sale is. So please have a 6 to 12 month emergency savings. Go through, and they covered this yesterday on your financial, the class they had yesterday on your finances. Make sure that you cut back on your expenses. There are a lot of things that you really don't need. Go through your credit card, take away your reoccurring expenses that you don't use. If you have Netflix, Hulu, and whatever the heck it is, and you don't watch movies, get rid of that. That's $30 to $40 a month. Really bring your expenses down so you can have that savings account that you can live off of until you get your deal. I'm going to add a little bit to this one. When you get your big commission checks, because we do get big commission checks, maybe once a month, but you may need to stretch that for 3 months. Don't take that $10,000 or $15,000 check and go buy yourself a new car. Take and keep that savings account, and also keep a savings account for your taxes. We're coming to the end of the year. Don't get stuck with that. And I find that that's why people also quit real estate, is because they say, well, I made a lot of money, but I didn't make any money. So what happened is when they did get their big commission checks, they're building a house here, sorry. When they got their big commission checks, they spent it right away, and then they couldn't live. So yeah, have that savings account that you can, draw from, and just be careful. Once you start having those consistent closings, I promise you it gets much easier. Even once a month, you can really use that and stay on track. But when you don't know when that next closing is, it does get a little unnerving.
I put 40% of my commission check into a separate account.
I do too.
I don't even touch it. I don't have it, because you got to have it when it's tax time.
Yep. And then at 40%, you have enough for taxes, and you have enough for your 401k or SEP or whatever you're putting into for your retirement. Because keep in mind, we are individual agents. We are running our own business, which means that we have to put money away for our own retirement.
Yep. So what I did with my, once you're in it long enough and you are profit sharing, I put all my profit sharing into my SEP account, which is my retirement account. And that compounds, obviously. So I think in the past 5 years, I don't know how much I put in there, but I think I have over $100,000 just through profit sharing in the past 6 years. And I didn't really start profit sharing until maybe the last 3 years. But if you put it away in a SEP account, it does add up. So just be smart, and it can be really fun. Get off the island. Have you heard this saying, if you want to find out where you'll be in the future, look at your closest 5 friends. And that means your closest business friends too. So being around agents that you have the same mindset will elevate you. You know, that saying, iron sharpens iron. So true. Surround yourself with agents that are successful. Be really mindful of who you spend your time with, inside and outside of the office.
Yep. Number 18, learn. It's a quick tip, but keep in mind, the only way you will be successful is learn about your business, read the books, take the courses. And if you're not a reader, I am not a reader. Everything comes on podcasts, and you can put your books on your car and listen to it when you're driving. So, you know, create your great client experience for your first 2 clients and make it the best thing that has ever happened to them. The books on tape are real nice for when you're driving also.
Yes. And if books on tapes don't wet your whistle, then, you know, like, I don't like books on tape. And I've always heard, you know, when you're in the car, you shouldn't be just driving mindlessly. You should be calling back your clients. You should be checking in. To me, I hate that. I can't concentrate. I forget the conversation that I had. It just puts more angst in my day. So I literally time block when I'm going to do that. I prefer to read. So whatever it is for you, find out your method and go with it. If it's reading, podcasts, training videos, signing up for MAPS coaching, whatever it is, do it. Just find out what your niche is and do it. Which brings us to mastering your scripts. For those people that say they don't like scripts because they sound so panned and uncomfortable, well, I've got something for you. What you are saying and what you are doing with your clients without a script, your own words, that's a script. So I started out with, what are the questions that make me super uncomfortable if a client were to ask me that I just don't really know how to answer? I would write a list of 10 to 15 questions down that, oh my God, if they ask me this, I will squirm. So I wrote those down, and then I found scripts that would help me go through that process where I would feel confident. And I would look for the scripts that felt comfortable to me, and I would study them. And so that became my script. It's, you know, if you're flying by the seat of your pants, that's your script. So you might as well find an answer that resonates with you, that makes sense, because then that will be your script, and it won't even be obvious. And it will come right off your tongue so easily that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. It just sounds so great. Well, yeah, because that's your script.
Because you practiced it.
You practiced it. Right? So any objection that you might hear, which you're going to hear a lot, find a script that resonates with you. What works for Stephen is not going to work for Grady per se. Find your own and research it. That's what I did. I heard so many scripts that I'm like, there is no way that I feel comfortable saying that. Okay, well, Janine, that's a great excuse for you not finding something that does work for you. So I took it upon myself to find out the scripts that work for me. Period.
And there are a lot of excuses.
So one of the things is, open houses. Not everyone thinks like I do. Most people don't. Awesome. But I love open houses, but the thing that gave me complete angst was having that person sign in, because I felt like they walked in and they're, oh, she's going to ask me to sign my name and here we go. And I'm going to run away because I don't want to talk to her. So I found a script that does not require that at all. And I get their information and I am writing it down. I'm not having anyone sign in. That was kind of my hurdle that I had to get over. And I found a script that eliminated that angst for me. And now open houses are so enjoyable for me. So find a script that works for you. Write down your objections that you're so afraid that are going to come your way and master that script. Right, Connie?
Yes, yes. And with the open houses, I have found that with COVID, it's given us an excuse to get everybody's information.
Yeah.
And when you go into command, you can set up, oh my gosh, a sign-in that you send them a landing page that when they come in, I meet them at the door. I say, hi, my name is Connie. How are you guys doing today? They're like, great. Well, can I have your name? And I just stand there with my phone and I look at my phone and I put in their name and I said, and your email, and I put it in, and your phone number. I don't even give them the answer. I don't ask, can I have? I'll just say, and what is? And they give you all your information. I've only had 2 people since I've been doing this say, I don't like to give out my information. I said, that's okay. I said, but because of COVID, we like to make sure that we know who's coming in and out of the houses. And then they're usually like, oh, okay. And then I say, I do not have paper forms because we're trying to reduce contact. I will email you the information, which also has my information on it if you have any questions. And then it goes right into all of your contacts as an open house. And then you can put notes on there right away. If they have an agent, you can write the agent's name in there, go back into your command, pull up everybody who you just entered in and call that agent and say, John and Susie Smith, we're at the open house. If they love it, will you please follow up with them?
I love it. And
yeah.
I'll email everyone that's on here that I have your email address that you put on. I've got, well, it's on my table now, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 so far. Like I said, I'm not as tech savvy or comfortable. I always bring my notebook. And my script is, they come in the house, I introduce myself, I'll ask them how they heard about the open house, and it's usually Trulia or Zillow. And I'll say, that's awesome, you found out about it just like everybody else. And why don't you go ahead and take a look around the house, and if you don't mind, would you mind if I asked for your feedback before you left? And of course, they're going to say, yes, that's fine. We would love to give you feedback. And then the script goes on to, would you be interested in finding out about properties before they come out on the market? Well, of course I would. Yes. If they, in the beginning, if they say they heard about the open house through their agent, I don't engage. I'll find out who their agent is, and then I'll let that agent know they came through my open house. But if they don't have an agent, then I'll say, great, can I have your email and phone number? And then the script goes on how you then take that information and you get them in as a client. So I am very direct, and it's a 5-minute at the most conversation. And I'm only getting the information from those people that actually want to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
Period. The end. The big thing is you have to follow up, people.
Yes.
You can be at an open house and it could be super successful, but if you don't follow up, you have nothing. So there you have it. Master. All right. So cultivate a great customer experience early. That's you, Connie.
Yes. So when you're working with people, make sure it's enjoyable. It's very stressful for people to make the biggest purchase of their whole entire life. Some people only buy one house their whole entire life. Other people flip once a year, once every 3 years, but the average is once every 7 years, they will make a purchase of a new house. So take notes and make sure you know whether they're married or only partners or living together for 15 years. A lot of times they'll say, you know, my wife or my husband. Once you start talking with them, remember that and how they refer to each other. Make sure you remember how many children they have. If they don't have children, or even if they do, some people like their dogs more than they like their kids. You know, remember Fluffy's name. It means the world to them. When you're talking with them and when you come to that closing, remember what they like and what they don't like. If they don't like red wine and you get them a bottle of red wine for closing, you know, they'll notice that. And then they'll say, oh yeah, this realtor gave me this bottle of red wine. It was really nice, but we hate red wine. You know, when they're talking and they say that we love coffee, or, you know, take and reflect their closing gift to what they like. It means a lot. Also, how they like to communicate. Keep that in mind. Some people do not like to talk on the phone. The older generation, they do not text. They only like to talk on the phone. So make really good notes on your files. And like I showed you guys before, I keep the old-fashioned manila file for everything. And I write notes on it, on where they were from, how long they've been married. And I jot down little notes all the time. And then you feel really close to them, and they feel more open to sharing their experience with you. And you get to be friends, and you're more confident that way also.
The shift for me was transactions are great, but I took the mindset of this is not a transactional deal. It is a relationship. So I'm all about the relationships, and I really concentrate on that, and then transactions then happen. So
yes, and
yeah,
I think it helps, Janine, that you and I both came from the service industry also.
yes.
We are used to taking care of people, and I just rolled that right into real estate. Oh yeah, and then I learned the contracts.
Right. If you have that relationship part down, you are going forward. I write everything down. I get their birthdays. I send birthday cards to everyone in my database. So I start in January, you know, end of December, I look who has birthdays in January. I have cards all ready to go, and they're mailed out in January. I remember their birthdays. I write down their cats' names, their dogs' names, their kids' names. My closing gifts reflect who they are. Like my last client, she mentioned she liked this really awesome scotch. And Trigger wrote it down. What did I bring to the closing table? That great bottle of scotch. Those are the things that they remember. Like, I can't believe that she remembered that. Or they have 2 cats, and their cats are their children. So I had the husband behind the scenes send me a photo of their cats. And then I went on Etsy and I found an artist who painted this beautiful painting of their cats. It was $60. And
Nice.
They will never forget that. And if you want to take your business, so you're just relying on your database of your clients, once you get enough clients, that's all you're going to be doing is working on just your database for your business. And that's a wonderful thing. And you can start doing that by cultivating that great customer experience from the beginning. And that's the fun part, because it's really not that difficult. If your people are in love with you and you're doing your job, they're going to spread the word. They want to give your name out to their friends, which kind of coincides with number 21, to treat your business like a business. So it's not a hobby. This is not a hobby. If you were dabbling in real estate, you'd be fine by the seat of your pants and you wouldn't be here. So this is a business. You have to treat it like a business.
So rolling into that and keeping everything kind of personal, make sure that you brand your business. Define who you are and brand it like a boss. So when you are doing your business cards, when you're doing your postcards, when you're doing your flyers, anything that you have in print, make sure that you have the same branding and the same color scheme. If you feel like yellow one day and you feel like red another day, it does not come off as cohesive branding and people will not notice. So like now, whenever I see anything with the Cummings group and it's the same exact logo, the same colors and the same font, keep those, just keep it cohesive, because then first of all, it's easier to transfer and update things. But second of all, when they see your branding and your logo, they're going to know who you are and what you do just by your branding.
Yep. Determine your niche. So what are you going to focus on? When you're new and, you know, there's so many things to focus on, you will quickly find your niche, whether that's you're going to specialize in expired listings, which that's hard to do now because everything's pretty much selling. Or you're going to specialize in for sale by owners, or you are going to specialize in a certain area of Milwaukee, or you're going to specialize in first time home buyers, or you're going to, whatever that is, find out quickly and really throw yourself into it. And it's usually what we feel most comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
My old saying, and it was my first family reunion, and I was completely blown away by this. He had changed brokerages and a successful agent, and the brokerage had certain requirements for this guy to be coming over. And they basically said, you have to do 6 open houses a month. And here, and I'm going to do it because it really makes a statement, because this is the only reason that I remembered this. And I walked out of that session going, oh my God, this is mind blowing. So, you know, hey, Tony, you're going to have to do 6 open houses a month. And Tony said, and Tony had been in the business for a while. And Tony said, I don't do open houses. Oh, Tony, you have to call 5 expired listings every single day. I don't do that. All right, Tony, you have to knock on 3 for sale by owners every week. I don't do that. I mean, it just kept going. And I'm just like, my mouth was just dropping like, oh my God, I want to be this person, because that's kind of how I feel. Anyway, it got down to then, Tony, you have to door knock 20 houses every other day. I don't door knock. And he said, this is what I do. And he held up the last piece of paper and he said, I work off of my database. I take care of my people that are in my database. I am in constant communication. I call them every day. I have a rotation of how I do it. And I throw a client event every 3 months. This is how I do it. And I'm super successful. And it was like a mic drop for me, because you're not going to be able to do that right away. Guarantee you, you're going to have to do probably a little bit of everything, but you will soon realize in the couple years of what really is giving you your business. And then you just dive into it, because that's where the fun starts. That's when you can really start enjoying the rewards of your business, that you can then just rely on that one thing that you do really, really well. But you're really not going to know what you do really, really well until you've probably tried a lot of things. So keep that in mind. It's not going to happen right away, but you will get to that one piece of paper, that little piece of paper that you are just knocking it out of the park. And you will be super successful. So there.
That's great. So number 24, what is the biggest muscle in your whole entire body?
My butt.
It's your mind. Your mind can overtake everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the sideways. If your mind is not in the right place, it can take you down a really dark, ugly place. And just from experience, when this whole COVID thing started, I am obviously not an at-home person. When you look at your husband and go, wow, what the hell is going on here? And you're stuck together and you can't get out and do things. I had so many things that I could have done and taken advantage of that first month, but it was in my mind so hard that I could not get out of the house and go see people and go out to dinner and go out for a glass of wine and do things, because my mindset was, if I don't see people, I have nothing to do, just because of the social animal that I am, machine. So when you take and you think of where your mind is and what it is doing, I started, and I've done this many times in my life to get yourself on track, because life is a journey. You have your ups and your downs and your highs and your lows. Get on, some sort of a daily positive quote. And sharing information here, when my son was 18 and didn't know his anything, we'll just leave it at that. I started sending him a daily quote. I had it sent to me and I sent it to his phone every single morning at 7 o'clock. And he didn't say anything for about 3 weeks to a month. And then finally he said, Mom, why do you send me these? And I said, you need to get in a better place. I said, your SH is all over the place. You got to start thinking on the positive things in life, not the negative. And you can go online and just type in positive quote of the day, just to get your mindset, whether you need to do that first thing in the morning, the last thing of the day. Keep your mind in the right track, and your mind will take you through everything positive as long as you set it up for success. It's very, very important.
And also, I think too, is just getting out of that environment that you're in, even if it's just for 15, 20 minutes, can really change your mindset. So if you're not in a good place, go somewhere else, get outside, take a walk, get in the car, do something that is going to take you out of that environment. That is usually, it will help. But this business is tough enough. And I think when you're down, you can just keep going down that path. So that leads into self-care is crucial. So it goes along with keeping your mind right, and staying positive is actually a form of self-care. So take the time to replenish your mind, your body, your soul on a daily, weekly, monthly schedule, and stick to it. So time block it. Like now, like our whole family, we have a Peloton. So we have a chart, and it could be, whatever it is, taking a walk. We hold each other accountable, put them on the chart. Did you do your 30 minutes today? Because I know you didn't, because it's not on the chart. So we kind of, and if you keep yourself accountable, make a chart. And what am I going to do for self-care today? Is it I'm going to go exercise? Is it I'm going to give myself a facial? Am I going to take a hot bath? Whatever it is, do one item of self-care every day and write it down and keep yourself accountable for it. Because that's the first thing that we throw away. And then it just multiplies, just gets worse. So put yourself first. Can't be a server as we are in this business. We serve everyone. If you cannot give yourself permission to serve yourself. So serve yourself. It's like the airline with the oxygen mask. You put it on yourself first so you can help others. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
Put it in, when we say time block, the first thing we have you guys do when you set your time blocks is put down your personal things first. So if you guys are trying to get a hold of me on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, I am not available from 8 to 9 in the morning because I'm with the trainer.
Yep.
So, have your date night on your calendar, have, your movie night with your kids, whatever you do, put yourself in there first, because you can do this job 24/7. You can answer emails. You can get up at 3 a.m. and say, oh my gosh, I forgot something, and jump on your computer and do it, which isn't really the best thing to do, but whatever works for you, but definitely make time for yourself. I agree 100%.
Because you know what, you're going to be you're going to, if you don't do it, and I think you've done it, Connie, I've done it, you burn out and you become resentful, and that's not who you are. We're caretakers, so take care of yourself first, and you have to time block it, period, the end. Otherwise it's going to be lost. Okay, 26. Now we're almost at the end, you guys.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Yep. And this goes back by like 13. You need to understand the beginning to the end. You have to understand what you're getting yourself into, and you have to be confident. A lot of times we say fake it till you make it, but always ask questions. So you know where you're starting and where you're going to. Have your business plan and have your checklists, and really stick to that.
Number 27, and we kind of touched on this before, you're dealing with the public, you guys. So if you've never had a public facing job, you're in for a treat. You're in real estate. You're not only dealing with the public, but you're also dealing with the public during the most stressful parts of their lives. So buying a house ranks up with divorce and death. You kind of know that if you've purchased a home yourself, but if it's been a while, you have forgotten. It is extremely disruptive, and some people handle it better than others. So I wasn't prepared for it as much as I am now. Prepare yourself. I also think too, how they show up with you when you first meet them and your first couple interactions is how they have shown up in their life. So if they come across as being angry, uptight, that's probably going to compound itself through that transaction. So make a mental check that this person is angry, or you're going to get all kinds. That is going to elevate. So keep that in mind when you're working with them. If you, I like I said, I've had some real difficult ones. I've had a couple screamers and yellers, and I try to get to the bottom of it. Like, where is this coming from? You really got to put your psychologist hat on. It's stress, but there might be something else going on. It could be health issues. Try to be compassionate, but don't be a doormat either. Honestly, I've actually had to step in a couple times this year and say, I understand what you're saying, because where the anger was coming from absolutely made absolutely zero sense. And I am sorry that this has happened, but I am not going to be yelled at. So I'm actually going to end the conversation now. And you almost have to treat that person like a child. When you feel like have settled down and whatever, then let's re-engage in a conversation. But right now is not a good time. So thank you so much. I will talk to you later. Click. You don't have to take it. I thought I did at first, but I'm not going to sit there and listen to a screamer. It may work with their wife or their husband. It's not going to work for me. And we're going to talk when we're calm. So you're dealing with the public. One transaction is going to be nothing like the next transaction that you have. That's the fun part.
That's true. That is true.
Aware of how they show up with you, how they've been showing up before you. And if you think you're going to change it, good luck.
Well, and don't take it personal on the same token. If somebody comes in and they're just ugly, maybe that's their personality. Don't take it personal. I'm jumping ahead. Never mind.
No, but I still do. I mean, that's one thing that I struggle with. It's like, oh my gosh, I am, I'm the nicest person in the world. Why would you treat me like that?
Yes.
And it's really hard. I had someone that was in the mentor program. I'm actually doing a deal with her right now. And she said her client was calling and yelling and screaming at her. And she was just so upset. I went, okay, first of all, you don't have to take that. Second of all, when you make that phone call to this person, your client, put on your armor, like visually put on that Ninja Turtle armor, and it's not going to get you. This is not going to get into your body. And you pick up the phone and you've got your armor on. So it's going to bounce right back. That's helped me a lot, is to visualize it's not coming into my soul. It's not going to affect me and how I deal with everyone else. It's just going to bounce off. I pull that out a lot, actually, in my mind.
I have a vision right now of you in a Ninja Turtle outfit.
I know.
Janine.
It's like, you're not touching
And
this.
you're still as cute as a button.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Learn your area.
Yeah.
So, especially in Milwaukee, we have the most diverse group of real estate or area of real estate that, I mean, when you're in Whitefish Bay, nothing in Whitefish Bay compares to Lake Country.
No.
Even in Lake Country, you can have a multi-million-dollar golf course house right next to a farm. So know your area, know who you're dealing with, what you're dealing with, and how to price things. Know your schools, because people will want to know what elementary school feeds into what high school. At Arrowhead, we have 11 schools that feed into the high school. So when we have people who move in from out of town, they will want to know that, what the class size is, and where you're going with all of this. And also, when you're out in the farm country, why is an old beat up farmhouse priced at $200,000 and within a mile? And keep in mind, when they're doing their appraisals, they're looking usually within a mile area, out by us at least. I know out by you, Janine, they're doing 4 blocks.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something to really keep in mind also. Why do we have a $2 million house down the street from a $200,000 old farmhouse? You need to know those answers when you're talking to your buyers.
Yeah. Pick a topic and become an expert in that pronto. So this is similar to what we discussed before, but this takes it a step further. So let's say your niche is going to be expired listings. Then list all the topics that you need to know in order to become a expired listing specialist. And then brainstorm on those topics, pick one and study it, become an expert. So wherever you want to be a specialist in whatever subject, or, expired for somebody, owners, first time home buyer, or I'm going to work on this side of town, and you then spend this time between now and January, become the expert. Find everything that you can about the area that you want to specialize in. It does empower you, even though you may, sell in another area. You have a special niche in an area that you really want to pursue. And then when you go to a different subject or a different specialty, you feel like you've done one and you understand it completely. And that does help you then move along into other aspects of real estate. So for me, when I first started out, I didn't really have that much of a database, or if I did, they weren't really buying or selling houses at that time. And I wanted them to, but they weren't moving and they weren't buying. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? So I concentrated on expired listings. And what I did is I wrote handwritten notes to every single expired listing. I have no idea what I said in those. But I was frustrated because nothing was really happening for me, and I felt pressure, and then blah, blah, blah. I got a phone call one day, and I honestly could not believe it. I thought it was a joke. And it was this guy that lived out in Mequon, and his house had expired. And he said, you know what? I called you because I'm a real sucker for handwritten notes. Ronald Reagan is my hero, and he was a person that wrote handwritten letters.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate that. And I would like to sit down and meet with you. I could not believe it. So it was my first listing, and I happened to be out of town when he called. So when I made the appointment, and I remember driving out there in the middle of a snowstorm, like things were shutting down. And I called him and I said, "Do you still want me to come out?" Like, "Please, dear God, no, 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 no." He's like, "Sure, I will have the." I'm like, "Oh my God." And where he lived was like North Mequon. I didn't even know where the hell it was. Excuse my French. And I remember just like coming in like the snowsuit and took off my shoes and got the listing. Got that darn listing and sold it, and they bought another house. But it was because of that handwritten note that I had written probably 400 of, but one of them answered.
Yep.
And when that happens, like the pebble just keeps going down the road. Like I got it, and then it just seems like positive energy attached to that one transaction. Now, it didn't happen the next day, but maybe a couple weeks or a month after that, something else came in and I felt empowered.
Yes.
That miracle is going to happen to you. It's because I did the work. No one else was doing it. Find
Yep.
something that no one else is doing and do it.
Well, and a lot of people who are afraid to do the handwritten notes, people love handwritten notes because what do we normally get in the mail every day? When you go to the mailbox, what do you get?
Junk.
Junk and bills. So when you don't have junk and bills, like Christmas, I love going to the mailbox on Christmas because we get Christmas cards all the time.
Yeah.
But after Christmas, there's nothing in that mailbox. I hate to say that's worth getting because you have to do it. But when you go in there and you have that handwritten note, you are going to open that up. And
Yeah.
even an expired listing, what have you. So to see that, you're getting one step up versus somebody who just sends a postcard once a week or every other week or once a month through their farming.
Yeah. So I just did something that no one else was doing because it's one thing that just people don't do on a regular basis. And I mean, I hate to admit it, I don't really do it as much as I should anymore, but that is the one thing that I did that really gave me the boost to move forward.
Yep. And last but not least, we've kind of been hitting on it the whole hour and a half here. Don't be too hard on yourself. Real estate is a hard business. So the dropout rate for realtors is 80%. So only 2 out of the 10 of you, and I hate to say it, are going to make it because people are so hard on themselves and they get into that negative mindset and they say, I can't do it. Woe is me. This sucks. Somebody yelled at me. You have to stay positive. And you know what? Give yourself a pat on the back. When you send out your handwritten notes, give yourself a pat on the back. Have a Christmas cookie and call it a good day because you got something accomplished. If you accomplish something every single day, you will be successful and you can move forward to the next thing on your task list.
Yeah. And honestly, if I were to, and I'm sure Connie, you're the same thing. If I were to give up every time I felt defeated, I would have been out of here 7 years ago. And you know what? It's the tough, stay with it. If, because I did real estate. Let's see. I always have to think, how old is my daughter? Annie is 29. So I was in real estate 26 years ago for a fleeting, like a year and a half. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was actually rookie of
the year. It was so good. You never even told me about it.
Yeah. I was rookie of the year. I worked for Coldwell Banker in Irving, Texas. And it was too overwhelming for me. I had a 3-year-old and then my, it just was not the right time. It was not the right time. And I think back, if I would have stuck with that job at Coldwell Banker and we would have stayed in Dallas and I was putting the energy in consistently, like when I first started out, oh my gosh, I have no idea what my success would be, 5-10 years from that point on. We ended up moving. But what I'm saying is, don't stop. Those who stop are not going to climb that ladder. It's those who stick with it through the bad, the scarcity, stick with it, and you will become successful. You're here for a reason. And I think a lot more than 20% of you will be here next year, because I think of the training that this company has.
Yes.
Is just above and beyond any other company, but it comes down to you.
Yep. You have to show up.
You have to show up, get up with a purpose every day and have a plan. And you're going to do great. So in January, our first session is going to be about how to use your database, that you will have one closed transaction every single month just by using your database. And it is going to be a little uncomfortable. And I'm going to be doing it, and Connie, right along with you. And it's going to be an exercise that we're going to do every single week together. And it's going to be using your database and Alphabet. And we are going to have a script that we're going to be using, really simple, to call your database, and it's going to be mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And we will give you that script, and we're going to call our database. And Connie and I will role play it for you our first week, and then everyone's going to have an assignment, and we're all going to do it together, and we are going to rock it in 2021.
2021's new year. Super excited.
So be prepared. Get your database together between now and the first Thursday in January. Have their email and their phone number. As many as you can. Get that together for yourself, because we're going to need it.
Yep.
And I'm a scaredy pants, just like, maybe anybody else here. I don't love picking up the phone. But this system is going to be so easy for you. It's not even going to be like a cold call. And you'll see what I mean. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. You guys, everybody have a Merry Christmas. We will not be having our classes, excuse me, for the next 2 weeks. But definitely first thing in January, we'll get going. Now, when you have this quote unquote downtime, work on that database. It's very, very important. So we can hit it off strong in January of 2021.
Yes. Have a wonderful holiday. And if anything comes up that you need help with, feel free to reach out to us.
Yes.
I have emails to send out for the open house script, as well as the material that we had today. I'll send it out to you guys.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.